Hello! Hello. We're gonna do this today, because I want to. So, we're gonna take a look at... Here we go, hang on, gotta prepare for it. Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 Full Burst. So, why did they name it that? I don't really know, because it is the longest game title in existence, but that's what it's called, and it's on PC now, so that's why I'm gonna do it. We don't get a lot of fighting games on PC, and I don't really care what people think about Naruto. I don't personally like it that much, but the fighting games that they make are freaking awesome. So here we go. Welcome. So this just came out on Steam a few days ago, and I was kind of surprised to see a few days before it came out that, hey, by the way, we're going to put this on PC. So I decided that I needed to support them in this because I want to see more fighting games on PC. And we've actually had a little luck with that recently. We've gotten Mortal Kombat, we've gotten Skullgirls, and of course Street Fighter, but that was going to be on PC anyway. And now we've got this. So let's just start off, I guess, by talking about the port. The in-game options menu is limited. You can, look at all of these. Fairly simple controls, really. But the actual sort of graphics options of things are in a launcher outside of the game. Because as you can tell, screen setting, that's just the position of the screen, that's not resolution or anything. Options are fairly limited. This is, I'm not sure how to say it, this is a very faithful port, we'll say. So that means there are no graphics options, but it actually looks better than the console version. They actually upped, I'm not sure if you would call them textures per se, but as you can see, the game has a very kind of graphic novel-esque appearance, as you can tell. And, yes, you can change the resolution in the launcher. You can switch full screen or not. You can switch some anti-aliasing on, and you can change if VSync is active or not. But that's about it, really. But in my opinion, it actually looks pretty good. And here's the main caveat for me, though. 30 FPS lock. It is locked at 30 FPS. I know. I don't know why they did that. But here's the thing. It's actually not bad. Coming from someone who hates playing at 30 FPS, it's obvious that this game was basically built for it. Kind of like Dark Souls. And the way that the animations and things work. Now, Dark Souls, you can actually unlimit it because it isn't really linked to the engine, and you can switch it up to 60 FPS, and it actually looks even better. But in this case, it seems to be engine-related, not just like an arbitrary limitation they put on the game itself. And it works. It's actually not bad. Usually I would say playing a fighting game at 30 FPS would be awful, but I actually think it feels pretty okay. So I was initially very unsure because of that. However, it's not bad. The real problem with that, though, is if there's a tiny bit of frame drop, it's really noticeable. So if there's some frame drop during this video, that's because I'm recording. Normally the game runs at a solid 30 all the time for me, but since I'm recording, it might drop a bit lower. Like right now, it's actually at 24, which is kind of crappy. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I might just lose horribly in battle because I can't handle the FPS drop, but we'll see. So the game modes, we've got basically the story mode here. This is, as it says down there, relive the Naruto Shippuden story. And that's exactly what it is. It is basically the manga and anime kind of combine some elements from each, and you play the show, essentially. And it's actually 80%, wow. It's actually 80%, cutscenes, because it's basically like episodes of the show and then fights. Now, normally I would kind of say something like that is not good, but because this is a fighting game and meant to sort of mimic the show, it's actually kind of cool. Even as someone that isn't a fan of Naruto, it's kind of a shame because I like the world, I like the whole ninja thing, and I like some of the characters, but I really don't like Naruto. I think he's an annoying character. And I think it's just way full of filler and bad writing, and I can't watch it. But, that being said, I'm starting to get a little back into it, some episodes here and there. It's not really, I'm not a huge fan of it, but anyway, that's not really the point. The games are awesome. And the world itself is pretty cool. So what it basically is a bunch of cutscenes that act like a fillerless, kind of crunched together, abridged string of episodes of the show. And then all the fight scenes you get to play. That's what the story mode is. Now, I probably won't be showing it to you because that's all it is. I mean, I don't really see a point in sitting here and just like shutting up for 20 minutes as cutscenes play and then fighting. Instead, I'll just do some free battles to show you the meat of the game, which is of course the fighting. So I don't really want to do that. You guys can enjoy that yourself. I will go ahead and just go into it really quick just to show you a few things, but I'm not going to play through it because, again, I don't want to make like a 50-minute long video that's basically like 30 episodes of the show going by for you. That's actually what it is. It's from an earlier, like, I guess an earlier episode, and it continues going. And you play through, you have to make decisions sometimes about which path to take, the hero path or the legend path. The legend path is usually more difficult, and the hero path is a little easier. And you play different characters, of course, depending on which sort of arc of the show you're in. Like the arc just before this, I was playing Sasuke invading the 5 Kage Summit. I was playing as Sasuke just destroying everyone. It was great. And now, of course, you're back in Naruto's land. So, if we just go to the menu really quick, you can see there are missions and quests that you can accept. Oh, I've already done this. Come on. I know. So, main events, of course, is, the story. So, we're learning about the assembly of Team 7 and the 4th war that started and all that. And then we have these special events that kind of last throughout the whole campaign, I guess you could say, because it takes a while to do some of these. And requests, which are like quests that you can get. So right now I'm trying to get some more blueprints for the tool shop so they can have better stuff. And you get rewarded for everything. It's actually kind of cool to have all these little quests. You can, as you can see right now, I'm kind of free walking. You can walk around. In the earlier stages, you're walking around in the village hidden in the leaves, and you can do all that. You have the timeline here, so you can actually go back and play previous battles that you've done before, and you can even choose the other path that you didn't choose the first time, which I think is kind of cool. So as you can see here, we haven't been to any of these yet. I'm not too far into this yet. I'm working on it. This is the very beginning. You actually fight the Ninetales. And on the hero path, you play as him and fight the Ninetales. On the legend path, you play as the 4th Hokage there and fight the Masked Man, which of course you don't know who he is at that time because that's the very beginning. So then you go through the various, stages of the show, I guess you could say, as you're playing and walking around the village and doing all those things. You can talk to people and get quests. You can go to shops and buy stuff. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, you have these. So these were fighting scenes that, of course, you get to play since it is a fighting game. And then here we go. You learn about all this stuff. You go and beat people up. And there are actually mob battles, they're called, which is you can fight in this free roaming setting against weaker enemies, groups of weaker enemies, and you can feel like a badass just blinking around and beating up like samurai and things. And then as you can see, there's actually a lot to it. There's a lot. It's a pretty long, span of the series. That's pretty cool. So yeah, as you can see, it takes a while. And as you go, you unlock more characters to play, which is awesome. More characters, I mean, in the verses. Now, you've got your items and everything, so I'll go ahead and just show you that really quick, because as you know, you have 4 items, and as you get experience in each of these paths, you can unlock more item slots for each of these. You can eat bento and things to help battles go a little bit easier. They only last for 1 battle, though. And then you can get coupons for buying things and all these blueprints you can take to the shop to unlock more items to buy. And you have all these collections and things, which are kind of cool, actually. They're basically like artwork and other stuff. Like, you can actually watch them do their jutsus. You can watch them do like some of their ultimate moves and things. And you can even get different like substitution items instead of the log for when you use substitution. You can have all kinds of other stuff appear instead of a log. It's kind of funny. So let's just get into this. This is free battle. So this is going to be the meat of the game itself. Indeed. So there are lots of characters in this game. There are like 80 of them, and I don't have all of them unlocked yet. And there are even more than it seems on the character selection screen, and I'll show you why. So here we go. So you can do a basic one-on-one versus. You can actually do a tournament, which is pretty awesome. And you can even choose a tournament with like special rules that continue changing and making the tournament different. That's pretty awesome. You can just do practice, of course, and you can do these challenge missions. These are neat because they break up just some of the basic fighting a little bit, even though I think the fighting is quite fun, which it should be because that's what the game's about. It allows you to almost have a versus mode story, I guess you could say. It's a completely different mode, separate from the story mode, but it's these challenges with different objectives. As you can see, you have to beat these, and after you beat all of them, it unlocks the one in the middle, and then you can move on to, as you can see it up there, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You move on to all those, and then that little card over there is a wallpaper that you get the pieces of as you beat all of these, and once you clear them all, you can use that as a wallpaper for your computer. That's pretty awesome. And these missions have different special, like things about them, different conditions. And you can also shop for items to bring with you and buy some other stuff and eat bento to make some missions a little easier and things like that. So let's just fight right now. Let's go into a fight. It's been long enough. It's been like 12 minutes. Alright. Battle time. We're just going to do a versus computer and a team match. Now, this is just if you can use support characters or not, so I'm going to say yes, we can. Here's the character screen. As you can see, there are a billion of them, and I don't have nearly all of them. But, if you see up there, there are sometimes multiple versions of the characters. So this one, he's got the flame control move, and in this one, he has a different move. The Three Great Tragedies. And there are characters that are like that. So, like say this over here, this particular Sasuke has 2 different forms and then 4 different costumes. So there's that version of him, and there's the Susanoo version of him, and then he's got these various silly costumes. These were DLC for the console version, but they come free for the PC version, which is awesome. And then of course there's a different version of Sasuke over here, and you can, unlock various different versions of characters. Some are costumes, and some are actual versions of characters with different moves that play differently. So yeah, there you go. Yes, there's a swimsuit version because I don't want to talk about it. Only 5,000 versions of Naruto, it's not a big deal. And as you can see, there's actually a lot of characters to play. So, let's see, we are going to probably play as, let's see, I do kind of like that you can use the previous version of Jiraiya. You know what, we're going to play as the Mizukage. With her hat, obviously. Boom. And you can choose 2 supports, and some supports, if you choose different ones that actually kind of make sense in the story, you can get sort of special supports that they'll name their team and things like that. So that's actually kind of cool. If you kind of follow the show and get supports that make sense that like happened in a battle and things like that, it changes. So let's have Kakashi. Let's use that version. And we're going to have him as an attack type. Attack type means when you summon him up, he's going to do an attack. This means that they'll sit in front of you and can take hits, but they can also actually be incapacitated, and balances sort of a mix of both. So we're just going to set them as attack. And let's just make a ridiculous team that doesn't make any sense. Let's get Orochimaru in here. What the heck? The normal one. Well, as normal as he can be. And we'll have a random opponent. So we're going to fight Kankuro with also Orochimaru as a defense type, and Shino as a guard. Alright, here we go. There are actually lots of stages to fight in as well. So, holy crap, there's a bunch. We can even do the prelims of the Chunin exams. You can go to the end here. Let's see. Let's go to... Oh, yeah. Gotta love those. There's a drop in here, but... So as you can see, or as you're about to see, every character also has those 4 items with them, and the fighting system is in a large circular arena where you can move around freely, not the kind of 2.5D like Street Fighter style. So yeah. Ah! What the heck? Ah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a little slowed down right now, which is unfortunate. Because, it feels a lot less smooth when it slows down like this. But I don't really know what else to do about it, so we're just gonna have to, deal. Try and get some grabs going on. So all your characters have your various combos, air combos, jutsu moves, shurikens, your 4 items, and even grabs. I know you can, it's alright. You can also hold some of their jutsus to make them a bit stronger. You can build this up, use normal shurikens, and like throwing items that are more based on, you know, like, okay, that was a nasty grab. Oh, looks like I can use an awakening. Let's do it! Pretty much every character has an awakening, which can be activated at different points during a battle that makes them stronger and allows them to do some just super cool stuff like that. But it only lasts for a limited time, and after you've done it, you can't do it again. So, oh god, oh god. Ow. Alright, let's do this again. He's actually kind of difficult for me to fight. As you can see, it's actually quite pretty. 21 hit combo, not a big deal, you know, per day. So they all have like their sort of ultimate jutsus and things that you can do during battle, which is pretty cool. Also, once the awakening wears off, they weaken. So I'm probably gonna like get wrecked. Alright, let's use some of my items here. Let's charge this up and try and do this! That's not what I wanted to do at all. Also, as you can see with him glowing like that, you can also do these interesting kind of different, oh god, these different styles of combination assists, which are kind of neat, I have to say. And I'm going to lose this. I'm just getting horribly destroyed here. So the battles themselves are actually quite smooth. It doesn't feel very smooth right now because I'm going at like 24 FPS, so it feels like heavily slowed down. Yeah, I lost. Which is kind of unfortunate. I really wish it wasn't limited to 30 like that. Once it's actually at 30, it feels fine. But any bit below that, it starts to feel a little bit sluggish. So that's something that I definitely don't like. But that's not a problem when I'm playing normally. Only when I'm recording has it dipped below 30 like that. When I'm playing normally, even under like heavy amounts of like particle effects and just attacks going everywhere, it doesn't drop. It's pretty solid actually. So we're going to try some other stuff here. Let's use Madara when he was alive. Yeah, why not? What the heck? Boom. And it would kind of make sense to have the Masked Man as his assist. And we'll also do someone ridiculous like... Let's get a version of Sasuke around here. Yeah, the really edgy, angry Sasuke, that'll work. And let's see who we fight. So we get to... No, Kimono Sasuke. With Lee, who always freaked me out. And Akatsuki. Alright, let's do this. I don't know a whole lot about the Naruto lore because, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the show, but I like the world. It's neat. And, I mean, the fighting games, they're just so good. So, yeah, I'm really happy that this came to PC. Because it's fun. It's just fun. And I don't really care what you think about the show. It's totally acceptable to be like, meh, not a fan. But this is really quite fun. Like, whether or not you like, oh god, the show isn't really that important at this stage. It's just enjoyable. That was a horrible miss. No! Don't even be like that. That's better. Oh, I messed that up. Messed that up bad. So, as I mentioned earlier, pretty much every character has an awakening. Those can actually completely change the way the character works sometimes. So, we've got all these different combos and things here. Oh, yeah. But we should also have an awakening, and every character, their awakening works differently. Some of them can do it at any time, some of them have to have low health, some of them have to have, like, full chakra, there are different ones. So, this one he's got to have a certain amount of low health, and a little lamp will appear beside his meter, and I can use it. And that would be nice. His is purple, therefore it's cooler. No! No, you can't. You can't have that. Stop it. And that happens. Support drives, which happens where you can do some pretty cool combos with your support characters, and more are available when you do that crazy support stuff. Yeah, where you have, you know, story-based supports.
Drown in despair. This is the power of Madara Uchiha. Divine power! Until... Game over!
You lose!
Power is not will. It is the phenomenon of physically making things happen.
There you go. That's how the game works. It's fan service, it's silly fights, and it's a very solid, enjoyable fighting system with lots of characters and lots of variation. So, if you're a fan of Naruto, I'd actually check it out. The story is actually pretty cool, how it follows the thing, how it follows the shows, allows you to watch, and then allows you to play all the fight scenes, even some cool boss fights and things. And if you're not a fan, well, if you like fighting games, this has a very, very solid fighting system. So the 30 FPS lock is annoying, but it shouldn't be a problem for you, unless you're recording like me. I mean, not everyone's gonna do that, so you know, it's whatever. And other than that, I don't really have that many issues with it, really. It's solid. I mean, Naruto, you know, like it or not, it doesn't really matter, that's not the point. The point is, it's a very solid fighting game with some actually kind of interesting characters, and the fighting system itself is very solid. So folks, there you go. This is available on Steam, believe it or not. I know it's weird to have a fighting game on PC. Get more of those lately, it's something we need. But I will give you the link in the description. You can go and give all your monies to them. There are like a billion characters, there's a full story with lots of quests and content. There's even some additional content for the PC version, including one extra character, I believe a Sage Mode character. Let's see what else, like 100 more quests to do, and some other stuff. So, yeah, even though the port seems a little weird, and yes, I would recommend a controller, you cannot bind your mouse, and the keyboard controls, there's something to get used to in a game that isn't like a 4 or 8 directional fighting game. It's a little weird, so I would recommend a controller. But anyway, the port is faithful, but they have some added stuff that makes it worthwhile, in my opinion. So there you go, folks. Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 Full Burst. I'll see you guys next time. Maybe I'll see you online, and you can horribly beat me, even though I play Itachi, who is overpowered. Cough.